Greetings, ladies and gentlemen players. It's probably Wednesday, March 2024, and here is the second part of the Joseki that you need to know for 2024. This time I do believe it is going to be the 3-4 Joseki edition. It was too large to upload as one video, so I cut it into multiple parts. Here is part 2 of, I think, 3. Enjoy. So let's talk about the 3-4 point. How many Joseki are in the 3-4 point nowadays? In 2024? There's got to be a lot of them, right? Well, here is a common sequence. Here is a common sequence. You approach high. Okay. Approach high. What are you going to play, chat? R7? Maybe. We'll be talking about that in a minute. The most common one is going to be the attachment. Just take territory. I'm a fan of it 10 out of 10. Now, my opinion is you should back off high here as white. Why? Because we are in a lot of that 3-3 and stuff nowadays. So let's hypothetically say you played this sequence and your opponent's like, I'm 3-3ing you now. You'd be like, okay. Because you've already got influence here, right? So if we keep playing the influence thing, well, you know, we really want to block that left-hand side right now before white can use the wall. But at the same time, you know, we really don't want white connecting up all this influence and making their stones work together. So it's until there's a meta shift, I highly recommend backing off high here. Highly recommend it. Especially against known players who are just going to keep giving you more influence because you don't even have to think about how your stones are going to work together. They're going to force your stones to work together, which I'm a big fan of. I don't know about you. So it's not because you didn't. So Pixel asked an interesting question. Should you play for influence or territory in all of your Joseki choices? What's the balance? Because I've lost when I've had 0 territory. The problem is around mid-game, if a fight breaks out, you should be fighting to make that influence into territory. And if fights aren't breaking out, we should be playing moves to start making that influence into territory. You know? So usually what happens is we go too far into just letting our influence be influence, and we never shift into making it into solid points. That makes sense? Now, occasionally, that's not entirely true. Depending on how your opponent plays, you could reach a critical mass where you just have so much influence, they can't possibly reduce it all. And if they try, you'll get half and you'll still have a lot of points to your name. That can happen, even especially nowadays in professional play. I see pro games like that every week. And a lot of them are on my Patreon. I've been reviewing the games. They're up there if you want to check out the VODs. Like, even pros struggle with that. They're like trying to play for the influence. They're trying to play for the territory. They're giving a lot of influence away. And then it's like, oh crap. How do I do it? They can't do it in the right way. They keep giving more away. And then things wind up dying. Or there's just too much. And it's just, ugh. Turning influence, and so it's a timing thing. Like I said, it's a timing thing. And a lot of people overestimate. This is the biggest one. A lot of people overestimate how much they need to make from their influence. Like, if we go back to this variation, for example, it's like, oh no, my corner was stolen. How much territory do I need from my opponent getting like 8 points in the corner? Well, technically speaking, if you get this, which is too slow to play right now, but if you get this and you can make 2, 4, 6, 8, then you've negated this corner, right? Because you made the same amount. So a lot of people will be like, they'll way overestimate. They'll be like, okay, I need all of that. Yeah, I need all of that or I'm gonna lose. Yeah, if I don't get all of that, my corner's gone. How am I gonna win if all of that is not mine? But that's insane. Like you don't need to threaten your opponent with God. What even is this? 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of 10? You don't need 70 points because your opponent got 8 in your corner. That's not how math works. That's just crazy. It's like, you're okay. Even something like this is pretty good. Because what is this? This is 4 lines of territory. Well, what's 4 lines of territory? Well, last I checked, that's the equivalent of a wall on the 5th line. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds good to me. So yeah, don't yeah. Biggest thing you could do there is overestimate what you need. But okay, so that's a Joseki. Cool, great. Poggers. As has been pointed out in chat, there is another one that pops up sometimes. Most of these don't pop up anymore. I don't remember the last time I've been a pincer tightly high like this. It's just not a thing. Very few games, like 1 out of every, I don't know, 20, 30 games I play, I see a high pincer. I have not seen the far high pincer in I don't know how long. It's been over a year since I've seen the far low pincer on a high approach. This one sometimes, we'll talk about this one in a minute. Right now, it's just these two that I think are the 2 common ones you need to know. You don't really need to know any others because you just don't see them.
Back in my day, all of those pincers were played, and we needed to know answers for all of them. Oh boy, howdy, that was a right pain in the keister. I had to memorize these sequences and those sequences, and I never knew what the hell I was doing. I made that shit up as I was going along. Not no more.
All right. So, what do we do here? Well, it depends. It depends. It depends. The easiest one, in my opinion, is just to play here. Yeah, Art 3, in my opinion, is the easiest one that you can do. The inside approach, I think, is one of the 2 common variations from this position. This does get a little bit complicated because after we play the Hane, there's a choice of under or over. There's a choice of under or over that you can play. Let's do the old sequence first because weirdly enough, I see the old sequence more than the new sequence. So there's this, into this, into this. I still see this more than the new one. Now, does the AI like this old sequence? Let's find out. Hey, AI. What's your opinion on it? It's fine. AI wants you to fight, by the way. You're not going to. Because as you can see, you can't. White is still ahead this game. It's still completely fine. And it's a nice, simple variation. You can play it. But what about the 1.5 you're missing here? Why aren't you Atariing for... It did want that first, right? Let me get more juice. Yeah, it does want the Atari first. Yeah, why don't you Atari first? And then run away. Well, because that's going to be a whole fight. This is very close to a pinwheel sequence where everyone's now got like at least 4 groups that they all have to juggle. That's complicated. Every time you introduce more complication into your game, you're introducing a point of failure into your game where you can die and lose just like that. So if we just don't do that and be like, well, what if, hear me out, what if I just play solid? Yeah, what if I just play solid? I'm still ahead. So it's fine. White's still a point. Still a point ahead. We're good. and we get Sente. I like Sente. I can do cool things with Sente. I can enclose. I can invade. I can do whatever I want. All right, great. Seems fine. That said, there are a few others. There's this one. This one, I like when they play this. This says, I I want more territory. That's what I want. I want more territory. So they Atari. And then, what do they commonly do here? Sorry, I'm blanking. So there are two options. Some of them can go ahead and turn here, in which case you will Atari. And then you will threaten to Atari. And then you'll get a larger wall. And then you can just go ahead and use your influence. They get a corner. You get a board that you now have influence across half of it on. And you got Sente to use the influence that you just got. Does the AI hate it? Let's find out. So we play here, here, and then we play here, and then we're going to play here, 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 into here. Nope, you're still ahead. AI is completely fine with it. There are some complicated sequences that you could play here, admittedly. Like, you could be like, hey, what if I play here first? Well, okay, but now we might never develop the bottom side like we might have just wanted to do. So it's a weird thing to get into this kind of strange sort of fighting. Again, all of these are points of complication, like I was referring to. Super insane fights going on. Why do that? If you don't want to, you don't have to. Is it the main line? Maybe. Do we have to care? No. We can just play a nice, solid game that is still in our favor. Nothing wrong with it. Don't let anyone tell you there is. If they do, they're lying. Because you literally just saw it. All right. Another thing they could do here is they can extend. Because maybe they don't want you to have all that influence, right? So they've extended. Now you can't get it. Now you can't get it. They just blocked all that influence from you. It's fine. You can still threaten Atari and take your stones back. Ladder's favorable. The descent kills, so they have to Atari here. So you're fine. Now you're just on the outside again. It's okay. You're settled. I recommend a move to make sure the ladder doesn't go anywhere. Even though it favors, you don't want to leave an unfavorable ladder on the board. Or sorry, a potentially unfavorable ladder on the board, because that's not so great. So, not so good. Not so good, right? No mooey beans. No mooey beans. All right, so I think those two cover the basic. The two basic things you probably see here. I don't see any other variations through that you're going to see. You might see this one. This is an oldie but a goodie. Might recognize this kind of thing from the alphas, right? Where you just go and play here. If your opponent wants to do that, that's fine. That's fine. You could just go and lean, and then just get into a pincer. Just attack the right side. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's nice and simple, and you know me, I like nice and simple. Maybe a little bit closer, actually. It's up to you. Pincer, I think the pincer placement really matters that much. Now, for those of you who insist on playing more aggressive things, you could attack. You could go ahead and play here. And then attack. Oh, sorry. And then attack. There we go. You could play this kind of thing. It's complicated. If you want to do it, great. I prefer the other way. Your opponent didn't get much points. You're getting strength and a weak group to harass. It's fine. AI, what do you think? Do you hate me for that? Do you hate me for that, AI? As you can see, AI likes you being a dick. It always does. It always will. Blah, blah, blah. It will always want you to be annoying. And then just start fighting. right? That's the benefit. That admittedly is the benefit of being able to read out thousands of variations. Do you have to? No, you can play here. They play here. You're fine. And as you can see, we can still play this. Judges, who's ahead? We didn't pick the main line. Oh, but white's still ahead. 0.5 ahead instead of the whole point that there was previously, but it's fine. You can see the marks there on the board. Not that one, stupid. This one. Like, you can see the marks there on the board. We're not playing like a bad move, right? You're not seeing purple. Can I see what will be a red move here? Is this a red move? Yeah, we're not seeing a purple move. We're not seeing an orange move. You're seeing greens. So if you don't want to play some of this newer, complicated stuff, don't let people lie to you and tell you that you have to. The simple things are still fine. All right, that takes care of that one. And yeah, from here, there's no Joseki. This is just a fight, by the way. Like, if they play here, you're not surrounded yet. You can get a base. They play this one. Just make sure you come out. Don't be surrounded. And from there, it's hard to imagine like what's gonna happen next. It's just a fight. Yep, it's an oldie but a goodie still. You do have to know, if you play this though, you do have to know a few more complicated variations because your opponent could be like, hey, I'm gonna play here now. And then there's like the inside stuff and all of this. I don't like the diagonal. Specifically because I don't like this shape. This shape makes me want to projectile vomit into like the Pope's face. I just don't like it. Who likes this shape? No one does. Nobody likes this shape. Nobody looks at this board and being like, I'm happy. Like, black's not happy, white's not happy. Everyone's shape just sucks. You like it? Okay. Okay, I stand corrected. Some people might, and if you do, there you go. If you like Mr. Dumplings, you can play Mr. Dumplings. Now, this one is the AI pincer, and it's actually kind of funny because it used to be all of these were common pincers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. B was literally the one pincer that was not played because it was in an awkward spot, and yet it's one of the AI's favorite pincers. So as a result, we're seeing more of it. Now, how are we seeing this one? Well, glad you asked. Who knows? Actually, wait, before I say anything, who knows? White's follow-up, who knows? I don't see the diagonal. Ooh, wait. Yes, thank you, Decross. Exactly. The most common one that I'm seeing here is the inside Ahane again. Did you get this right completely? Into what? Okay, R4 into Q4? Q4, wait, what? Oh, right, okay, sorry. S3, yes. Into the descent, yes. Into this one, yep. This I'm seeing a lot because people really, really, really love that influence. Or not the influence, sorry, the territory. They really love the territory because your stones are possibly dead. Now, there are two variations here. Variation 1, you decide, for whatever reason, you're going to live in the corner. You're just going to be like, I'm alive here. But if you do this, you're also dead here. I'm not a fan. So you could stop here, but again, it's kind of weird being killed on the outside. Not my favorite sequence. AI, what do you prefer there? Actually, I'll tell you what I prefer first, and then I'll show you. My preference here is this one. This one threatens to kill. They have to make sure they're not dead. And then you can lean. Now, generally, your opponents will unfortunately push a little while. The reason why they will is because they're not happy getting fully surrounded. They didn't want to play a position where they're fully surrounded in the corner. And if they don't answer, that's what's going to happen. AI, what is your preference, boy? This one, my fave. Yes, I lose 0.3. Yes, I lose 0.3. Oh, wait, sorry. I forgot. Before we do that one, though, let's give this a little bit more juice. A lot of complicated cutting always requires a few more variations to be read out. If we play here, we get to do this one into this one. It's nice and safe. You could do this first, but there's a few options available with that one. It gets a little awkward and cutty. I prefer making the exchange first. You don't have to. But yeah, I generally will. And then we get to play here. If he defends immediately, it's generally because he's looking to do some kind of cutty times here. So yeah, you could just go ahead and make sure that's completely fine and you're all good to go. No real problems. We're nice, we're flexible, and the variation's over. I am a fan of it. I am a big fan of it. Did we lose anything here? Let's see. Any bad moves from white? Nope. That's not a bad one. That's a 0.3. No, doesn't look like we're losing anything here. In fact, if you want to be more aggressive, you could, as you can see here from the AI. If you want to be more aggressive, you absolutely can. If you want to just go ahead and make sure they're surrounded, you absolutely can. If you wanted to get some shape here, you absolutely can. It's a nice, flexible, and light variation that you could use in a whole bunch of different places. If you want to use it to just grow left-hand side, totally can, because they can't push and cut you or they're dead, right? That's just not, it's not going to be a thing. If you need some light shape here because you're growing in the middle for some reason, maybe you got a Maybe you got a sand rinsayer here and you just want some light shape to keep building up in the center. You got it. Whatever you need to do. It's all groovy. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. You're going to see this eventually. And long as you remember, threaten to kill and then surround, you're good. Because that's done. Over it. Fantastique. There are a few things that I will warn you about, though. Hopefully you'll never see it. No, you might see it. You might be tempted to play a small knight when you're pincered. Who knows why this is a dangerous idea? Who can tell me? Who can tell me why it's a dangerous idea? You love it? Makes one of us. Can be cut. How are you going to cut it? Yeah. Yeah. This is one viable option. It's not a fun one. Oh, let me tell you, it's not a fun one. It can also technically be played here. They're both horrifically bad. If we play here, we're getting into this kind of thing. Why not just ladder? Good question. If we ladder, then who got the better end of the result? Black got the solid territory. White didn't get anything yet. White actually has nothing right now because they're undercut. So we can't even develop this. Right? Like if there's a stone here, there's an invasion because they threaten to play here and then leave. It's really hard to use. We don't want to play this way. Typically speaking, we don't want to play this way. So we're going to fight it. Or worse, they're going to play here. And then we're going to play this one. This is a pinwheel. There are infinite sequences from it. You probably don't want to play this in your games. And the reason for that is, once again, a mistake and you're done. So if we look at the variations that spring from it, because you can see AI is like, you should do it. Go for it. Play the small knight. What could happen? That's because the AI is adorable. AI is adorable. AI is like, no, it's fine. There's nothing bad's gonna happen. It's a very simple variation. This is the variation that's gonna be played. But it isn't. They're gonna play here. And even now the AI is like, no, we should play here instead. And then here, 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 and then here. Or here, actually. Yeah, or here. Into this one. Again, more variations. More variations upon variations. Like, do we want to play this way? Maybe. Everyone has to live. Holy Christ, what is going on here? And then again, there's still more variations. Is this going to live? Who knows? Like, it's insane. Right? It's just variation into variation. This is essentially Taisha level difficulty. This is like one of the relatively new variations that have it's just a fight though. How often do you get into fights where there are four groups that are being looked after at once? That's really not just a fight. It's a Joseki. So this has a set sequence with a point. Okay, let's do this. Here. Here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Fine. Into here. Which one do you prefer here? You do prefer this one, right? You do. Okay, making sure. Making sure. And then, do you prefer this one or this one? Because we're mainlining. Okay, we're mainlining. Okay, like I said, we're mainlining. So I'll do that one into that one, and then it looks like this one into that one. And then, what are we gonna do now? Looks like it's this one, okay. Into that one. And then this isn't alive yet, so we're gonna play here, okay. And then we're gonna do this one. Oh, for the love of nuts, seriously? This one maybe? We're gonna co. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna co here. All right. Apparently, if we follow the main lines, we're taking up a fourth of the board with a set sequence that ends in a co. That's kind of crazy. Like, that is a whole lot of moves you're going to play on the board that you didn't pick. Right? You're just memorizing it, and you're putting it on the board, and by using up a fourth of the board on a set sequence, you've ruined a whole bunch of different potential for you to take the game in various ways over and over and over again. Right? Because you're settling a fourth of the board with an even position. That is now, some people do that. Some people have really, really, really bad openings. So they try to play the most complicated, longest sequences possible, because if you can get to like 50 moves in without losing points, because you didn't have to come up with them, that's how they're comfortable. Right? That's how they're comfortable. They just want the longest, even sequences on the board. That way they don't have to think about direction of play, biggest moves, like all of the stuff you have to think of in opening. Yeah, all that goes out the window. Don't have to think about any of that really. All I gotta do is play the memorized sequences here in this corner, as large as possible, and then I'm in mid game, and I don't have to worry about my bad opening. Like, that's kind of like a band-aid for a problem, though. I don't like it, because you're not really addressing the problem. You're kind of trying to like just paint over the problem, but the problem's still there. So fundamentally, I don't like it for that reason, even if some people do. Like, if you do, that's fine. I'm not saying you're a terrible person. Not saying you're terrible at the game. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. If that's how you like Go. That's how you like Go, and that's fine. That's just why I don't like it. If that makes sense. Which is why generally I know not to do this. Which is why I know not to do this move. I would sooner jump out. I would sooner jump out and play something like this instead. Because it's nice and simple, and I can figure out, ooh, I want to like try to surround here, my pincering, my capping, do I need to settle here later? And the AI doesn't care. Like, that's a 0.5 move. And then I can just get shape, and I've only lost 0.5 points. And I've avoided all of that stuff. And now, rather than ending the sequence 50 moves in, I'm still only on move 14. So there's plenty I can do in the opening and like planning out things in the mid game. Like, I like having more choices for how to direct a game, not fewer, essentially. Would Shin So play this one? Hell no. No, Shin So would play. What would Shin So do? It's hard to say because you have to keep in mind like this is a thing. Like there's a corner enclosure here on the board that changes a few things. He might Tanuki, to be honest. Or he would play the sequence. Or he would play the sequence. Or he would actually go into here. Yeah, he probably would. He probably would. It's the main line, so he'd play it. But keep in mind, my game specifically, and most amateurs I play against, by looking at their game records, our games don't go to counting. Like, I looked from the past year, I have an account. After a whole year of playing on it, it went to counting where the count was under 5 points 3 times in an entire year. But in a professional game, their games are a lot closer. So they have to start worrying about the difference between 0.3 and like 0, right? Because they're actually entering into endgame a lot more, and that game could be worth $10,000. You know? There's a lot of editing I have to do in this video. Yeah, we've got off on tangents a lot. We've got off on tangents a lot. I have an hour-long recording, and I still got to do the low. I got to do a low approach still. Okay, I could cut them up. 4-4 section and 3-4 section. I might cut this up in 2 different videos. But all right. Next up, low approach. Low approach is fun. Everybody likes low approach. Most common sequence here right now, diagonal. Shusaku would be proud. It's back in the meta. Diagonal is most common. You can just grab yourself a 2 space. Sequence over. One of the shortest sequences on record right now. They diagonal, you get a base. Technically, yes, it's still a little slow. You can play away. Even the AI will say that. See? Still green moves on the board. All sorts of green moves on the board. You can play away. You're not even losing a full point if you want to. But, yes, getting a 2 space is perfectly fine. And you're done. You're over it. Fantastic. Just note, you might want to jump up at some point, otherwise your opponent later on could get an 8-line wall. Okie dokie. So after that, we have this one. Again, same thing. 2 space, 3 space is also completely fine. Same thing with the diagonal. So with the diagonal, you can 3 space there too. And then again, Joseki over. We're done. We're over it. You can also Tanuki if you want to. That's fine. The kick is very, very common because we're territory centric right now. Here you can approach back off 3 space high or 3 space low. I would avoid 4 space unless you are specifically looking to be attacked here for some reason. Because all of these pincers are viable on your 4 space. Right? So bear that in mind. Again, I don't like the kick simply because it's really, really easy to grow. I see that black got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 points from this. And I see that white is threatening to double it with a jump. So if you kick, it's again one of those variations where you will have to invade it later and reduce, because you can't just be like, yeah, I kicked my opponent and then I gave him 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I gave him 21 points. No, it's fine. I got 12, he got 21. It's fine. I make those exchanges all the time. That's why they call me Mr. 20Q. Like, you don't want to do that, right? So bear in mind, if you kick, that means you're committing to an invasion in the mid-game. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? I haven't seen the low pincer in forever. I don't remember the low pincer. I haven't really been pincered high lately either. This one? I sometimes see this one. I sometimes see the 2 space high. Easiest variation, in my opinion, is to play here. And if your opponent plays here, the variation is over and you can play elsewhere now. This is a settled position as is. Just try not to be surrounded. Now that said, some of you might see this one instead. And you'd be like, oh God, here we go again. Now we're back into the pinwheel. True. True. But I avoid it. I would actually recommend full-on avoiding that. Now you might be saying, but does the AI want me to avoid that? Good question. Let's find out. So we do the 2 space high, and then bish, bash, bosh, kick. That's still green. How much did we lose? Oh, we lost 1 point from it. Oh no, darn it. Now, admittedly, you can play here. It's a little bit more complicated, but you'll lose less. Now it's 0.7 instead of 1.4. And it's still good enough. They'll play here. You can just go ahead and settle. And you're good. Right? We're done. We're over it. So, gotta be careful about that. You can also, and some of you old people might like this one, you can also go all the way back to here if you'd like. 0.6, not even a whole point. Your opponent's going to play here. You can settle. Your opponent can settle. And now you have Sente. White's still leading in this game. But if you don't want to have to worry about the leaning and the pushing and cutting and all of that stuff, you can do that completely as well. You can do that completely. White's still in the lead here. You still have Sente, and you can go and take your big moves. Because wait. Sorry, wait. Sorry, this one's what I meant to say. Meant to do this one into this one. There we go. Yeah, White's still in the lead. You can still do this. It's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's only a 0.6, and it's nice and simple and safe. Otherwise, we're going into like maybe this kind of stuff, and we can only blame ourselves for inviting it. Because once more, it's this kind of game where we're doing all of this stuff and all of this stuff, and then I guess we're playing over in here or something. And I don't know, is this one? Question mark. That's a thing. We're extending down. This looks like fun. All right, guess we're playing that one. And then this one? Okay. Oh, and then we're cutting. Okay, the fun just doesn't stop here, chat. Like, you get the idea, right? Like, why am I in a full board fight for the entire rest of the game off of a Joseki corner? Like, if that's not something that you want to get down with, just chill and play something simple. Even the AI is like, yeah, it's fine. It's only a 0.6. Who cares? You're still ahead. So there's 3 space bases are because you can handle it lightly. For example, if we're talking about like here, this is a timing thing again. Like if you play here, you could just go and play this one. Your opponent can kill this. And then we just reduce it later because this is still reducible later. Like there's a whole bunch of ways to handle it. And if they know what they're doing, it's fine. Sometimes you'll see Koreans even going further in their base. Like I've seen a couple of them go with a 4-space extension here. Because that's just a lot of fighting. Just a lot of fighting and reduction. It's just a thing. Just don't freak out about it. If they play here, it means you probably get this one in Sentai. Because they have a weakness in the 3. Or maybe you get to get more influence that you normally do. Because they can't extend up right now. So if influence was a thing that you wanted, then now you're on the 9th and 10th line if you needed the influence. So if you made like an exchange over in here, let's say, and they had a 3-space, great, we're on the 10th line now. Okay, no big deal, we're good. No big dealio at all. Anything else for low approach? Let's see, we covered, not that. We didn't cover this. Sorry, this one, I still go old school with this one because I love this sequence. I am absolutely fine with this sequence. AI wants you to push and cut, and that's fine too. That's fine too. Because even this is fine. Like, it's really hard to go wrong as white, as the approacher, if you get pincered closely. You can just go into the corner, or you can do the other. It doesn't really matter. It's not really going to hurt you any. Again, AI can back us up on that one. Bop, 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 bop. White's still ahead. Seems fine. So we don't have to be like, I'm going to do something else. Like, no, you're good. It's whatever. This one, AI is not going to like as much. 1 point loss. Unforge. But you can see there, once more, if we wanted the influence, we got it. Seems fine to me. Black took a 2-point lead. Because didn't like the attachment very much. But if it's simple and it settles, and you want the influence for some reason, cool, do it. Have fun. I think that about covers it for my hour-and-a-half lecture here that I have to trim down into 2 videos. Oh, all right. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of sequences that you need to know. Pretty easy to get a nice simple result out of almost anything that your opponent can throw at you with just a couple of very simple, very short memorized sequences. They can't force you into some kind of long-winded Fuseki. They can't force you into the flying knife. They can't force you into a push and cut Joseki that spirals across half the board. It is not up to them because Go is played by 2 people. And if you want to play something simple and just avoid it, then you're good. Okay, we're gonna need a part 2. You're right. We're gonna need a part 2. Because there's the enclosure into the attachment. And There's also the enclosure into the attachment. So we're going to have to talk about both of those. Okay. That'll be next time. This has already taken up an hour and a half.